Today, we're diving into a seriously mind-bending thought experiment. Imagine a world where a fundamental human necessity just vanishes. Yeah, we're talking about completely erasing the biological need for sleep from our DNA. If we unlocked all those dormant hours, would it be this incredible utopian dream come true? Or are we looking at a non-stop waking nightmare? Let's jump into this explainer and see exactly what that world would actually look like.
Okay, picture this. It's 3 a.m. Normally, pitch black, silent, the whole world is basically shut down. But not here. The streets are absolutely packed. Kids are out playing at brightly lit parks. Office buildings are just glowing against the night sky, completely full of workers. Schools are running. Restaurants have lines literally out the door. No one is yawning. Nobody's rubbing their eyes. Because in this reality, humans just don't need to sleep anymore.
Honestly, it sounds like the perfect life, right? Think about it. No more wasting 8 hours every single day lying unconscious in a dark room. No jarring alarm clocks ruining your morning. No fighting to drag yourself out of bed on a Monday. You suddenly gain almost a third of your life back. But that brings us to the core question here. If we gained all this time, would life actually improve? Or would deleting sleep create a really strange and maybe even chaotic world?
To understand this, we've got to look at the sheer scale of the time we're talking about. The baseline reality for most of us right now is that we spend almost a third of our entire lives, about 8 hours every single day, totally unconscious. That is a massive chunk of our existence spent completely offline. We just accept it, right? It's a mandatory biological tax. But for today's thought experiment, we're taking that 33% slice, deleting it entirely, and giving it all back to the awake column.
Now, before we get to the fun stuff, we have to address the science real quick. Sleep does some serious heavy lifting. While you're out, your brain is busy organizing memories, your muscles are fixing themselves up from the day, your immune system is rebooting, and essential hormones are pumping. Without sleep in the real world, we get forgetful, emotional, and our bodies just shut down. But for our scenario today, let's say evolution found a perfect biological workaround. Imagine all these critical jobs happen seamlessly while you're fully awake and walking around. No fatigue, no need for beds, just 100% continuous energy.
So, let's run the math on this newfound freedom. Instantly, overnight, every single person on Earth gains an extra 8 hours of free time daily. 8 hours! Just think about what you could pull off today if I magically handed you 8 extra, fully energized hours. But it gets wilder. Let's compound that math. Those 8 hours a day, they snowball into a massive 2,900 extra hours over the course of a single year. That's thousands of hours of pure potential that you currently spend asleep. When you divide out those 2,900 hours, you hit the ultimate utopian payoff. You are essentially gaining more than 120 extra waking days every single year. It's literally like adding 4 extra months of conscious, active living to every single calendar year of your life. So, what does society do with this incredible windfall of time? Well, we'd see a global productivity boom unlike anything in human history. The possibilities are staggering. Students could master complex subjects in a fraction of the time. Gamers could play all night and never hit a wall. Doctors could treat way more patients, basically reducing wait times to 0. Scientists could run experiments non-stop. Athletes could train relentlessly. The whole world just becomes dramatically more capable overnight. Now, here's a really fascinating distinction. You might think having more waking hours means actually living a longer lifespan, but not exactly. If we still age at the same biological speed, you don't magically get extra years on the clock. But compare it to 80-year-olds. A normal 80-year-old has spent nearly 27 of those years completely asleep. But in our new world, that 80-year-old spent 0 years sleeping. They experienced every single hour of those 80 years awake and active. So, biologically, you wouldn't live longer, but your actual, consciously experienced life, it would feel vastly, vastly bigger.
And this biological upgrade stretches way beyond our own planet. It would totally revolutionize space exploration. Right now, astronauts spend months in space, and they're severely limited by sleep schedules and the physical room needed for beds. But without sleep, space travel becomes incredibly efficient. No sleeping cabins means ships can be smaller, or they can carry a lot more cargo. You've got round-the-clock continuous research. Building colonies on Mars becomes infinitely easier when your workforce never has to clock out and go to bed. We could explore deeper into the universe than ever before, all because of one missing biological need.
But bringing it back to Earth, this tiny biological change completely wrecks parts of the global economy in some pretty strange ways. Think about bedrooms. Millions of them become totally unnecessary overnight. The massive mattress and pillow industries, done, collapsed. Hotels would have to completely rethink their rooms. I mean, why rent a bed if nobody ever sleeps? Even pajamas become totally pointless. So sorry to all the cozy sleepwear fans out there. And sleep medicine? Entirely obsolete. Massive billion-dollar businesses would just vanish in the blink of an eye.
But, okay, this is where we have to pause and take a step back. Because in a world that literally never stops, the planet itself starts to pay the price. Right now, cities get quiet at night, roads clear out, lights turn off, shops close down. But in this new reality, night practically disappears. There is no reason to stop. Factories run 24 hours a day. Airports never slow down. Construction literally never ends. Our electricity demand would absolutely skyrocket. Streetlights, homes, power plants, everything stays active nonstop. And if clean energy can't keep up with this terrifying new baseline of demand, we are looking at a massive, dramatic surge in global pollution.
And honestly, pollution isn't the only dark side to this endless productivity. Let's look at the human cost. Sure, at first, everyone's thrilled with all this extra time, but society adapts fast, and new expectations lock in. Teachers start assigning way more homework, knowing kids have all night to finish it. Companies hike up working hours, expecting you to stay productive for much longer stretches. Instead of giving us freedom, society just raises the bar. Your precious, free time slowly vanishes into the machine of progress. People aren't actually happier, they're just significantly, endlessly busier.
Which brings us to a pretty profound realization. Sometimes, having more time doesn't actually mean having more life. We naturally assume that adding hours to our day adds quality to our existence. But when those hours are just filled up with more obligations, the actual value of that time just plummets.
And this forces a radical reframing of what sleep actually is. We usually think of it as a biological tax, right? Just physical rest. But really, it's a natural biological pause. It's a mandatory boundary that literally forces us to stop, to slow down, and to disconnect from the world. In a way, it protects us from our own endless momentum.
Without that forced boundary, we hit the real hidden problem of this world, the hidden exhaustion. Imagine a life that is perfectly continuous. Notifications never stop, work never stops, entertainment never stops. There's no natural end of the day to let you off the hook. Every single hour of the day and night feels like another opportunity, which really quickly morphs into another responsibility. The pressure to always be on would become completely overwhelming. Ironically, removing sleep might make life feel infinitely more exhausting, even if you never actually feel physically tired.
Ultimately, there is a massive cost to this reality. Sleep gives our lives a rhythm. Think about it. The morning only feels fresh and new because the dark, quiet night exists to contrast it. The weekend feels wonderful specifically because we're tired from the long week. And what about dreams? Dreams inspire our art, our music, our stories, and sometimes even our greatest scientific breakthroughs. Without sleep, we lose that mysterious creative subconscious entirely. So, we arrive at the end of our explainer with a massive question for you to ponder. If humanity never needed sleep, we'd undoubtedly become more efficient, way more productive, and technologically advanced. But we might also become a little less human. So if you were given the choice, would you pick a world of endless possibilities? Or do you think it would just turn into a nonstop race where nobody ever gets a break? Is maximum efficiency really worth sacrificing the quiet rhythm of our humanity? It is definitely something to chew on. Keep wondering, keep asking those big questions, and I'll see you next time on The Explainer.